All right. I'm gonna broadcast this one. Ugh. We're back up at this news. All right, just let me post this to Twitter, and then we will go. Okay, so we're not gonna start everything over again. We're just gonna keep going like nothing happened, right? Right, makes sense to me. I enjoy your pictures in the Discord there, Satoshi. They're the same picture. That's great. Did you find that or did you make that? It looks like my camera's a little wonky. Give me a second to refresh. Better? A little bit better. Okay. I like how all those subscribers are just the first 3 people who subscribed to the channel. Does anybody know if XSplit has a better plugin for that? God. Hilarious. Anyway, where were we? Talking about Trek. Talking about things. Here we go. Aristome. So Next Gen Season 2 isn't as terrible as I remember. In fact, as annoying as Pulaski is about, like, you know, treating Data like garbage, basically, one of my least favorite episodes with her involving de-aging herself using the transporter, spoilers, is actually a pretty decent showcase for Pulaski as a character. And when she has the opportunity to treat Data like garbage, she doesn't. In fact, even defends him to some people. They cross the ruins. Well, everyone's perked up now. Food storage. Oh boy. And this old guy. Doan. Robot guards, eh? I can help you with those robot guards. Protodome. Is that kind of like Proto Man? Talk about crackpots. Beyond the ruins. Ooh. Okay, it's all the same stuff. That. It's gonna hold on to that bronze mail yet, right? Okay. Just to make sure this doesn't happen again, or we lose the stream completely, I've disabled auto stop. It wasn't working anyway, because whenever I stop it on my streaming software, it doesn't seem to want to stop the event. So I have to always manually stop it anyway. So I'm just going to leave that off for the future, because if this ever happens again, we can just continue. Like I figured it was safe to do again because I wasn't having problems with the computer. At least this time it wasn't XSplit crashing. It was the laptop going to sleep because the power wasn't plugged in properly. So. Anyway. Save, and then we're going to save it this way. All right, I have to go below, huh? How do we get down? Down, down, down. The other funny thing about that episode was how, the Pulaski episode I'm talking about, was how there were human scientists doing genetic experiments with actual people, which, if you're to believe what's going on with in Strange New Worlds about the Federation's stance against eugenics, you'd think wouldn't be allowed, but maybe things changed since the 23rd century? I don't know. Maybe what happens with Una will help change that. Those look like Zora. Narrate. Ooh, bubbles are vicious looking. So anyway, I bring that up because Pulaski was nowhere to be seen in Measure of a Man, like, at all. They don't talk to her, they don't consult her, like, there's nothing. And, like, that was an opportunity missed, I think, to have her as a witness, and like exhibit that character growth she went through, or, you know, possibly more hackily had her as a witness against Data, or maybe like they could have had the prosecution be like, well, you know, so and so doesn't think Data's human, so, and then she ends up being bad for the case or whatever. But maybe it was fine without it. It was just an interesting thing that, like, the person that Data's worked with the most, who has the least good things to say about his humanity, was notably excluded. So. All right, let's go down. Tad on the spooky side. More like a tadpole on the spooky side, am I right? Is this a ruby key, huh? Oh boy, it's a cat. Ouch. Who's hurt the most? CR are blowing up my phone in their Discord right now. Ouch. Youch. Did not look good. Bubbly, bubbly. It's such a bummer too, because we were approaching a record number of simultaneous viewers in the last stream, and then they just didn't come back. I'm really bummed. My record, I mean higher than average lately. So, I guess apart from that, I've watched... Ah! Apart from that, I've watched... I've watched all of Gravity Falls. Which, something that... It's my homework for Two Boobs Watch the Tube, so we're going to do a podcast on that coming up pretty soon here. It was a very fun show. I guess it would probably have had a better impact on me if I had watched it sooner and hadn't already seen things like Steven Universe to completion. But that's really all I'm going to say about that. It's a very good show and you should watch it. It's on Disney Plus, by the way. It was a Disney XD show originally. And I'm actually kind of glad that these things are somewhere that you can watch them, because I didn't have cable for a very long time, since 2012, I want to say. So we haven't been able to watch a lot of these things unless they were on Netflix or something. And maybe Gravity Falls was on Netflix at one point, but like there's very little chance for people to be exposed to it. Comparatively. Although now my kids are watching Avatar: The Last Airbender with us, which is on Netflix. So. I'm glad you're still here, Talbot. Especially because you weren't able to normally come to these, so. Yeah, take him down. Oh! Dink? Anyway, so... Yeah, I won't say much more about Gravity Falls, but our next two episodes are going to be Severance and Gravity Falls in that order, and then after that I'm not really sure. We have it written down somewhere, so we have a plan. But I watched Gravity Falls really fast, which probably wasn't the way to do it, but I had to get through it in time to talk about it on the show. Like maybe I'll go back afterwards and watch a few key episodes, but. All right. Okay. Ooh, save point. Don't mind if I do. Ah, boo! Nicely done, game. Ouch. Double ouch. Jeepers. This is feeling like I'm gonna actually combo breaker. Only hit one guy? Boo. Running low on MP. I think we are. I mean, those should have been MP moves. Yeah, Satoshi, I commented on it when the stream started up again. It was nice meme. I love it. Yeah, so what I've been watching besides that, She-Hulk is a delight. I'm really disappointed and but not surprised that so many people are vocal about how much they hate She-Hulk, and the Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings series. You just can't get away. These people are going to be omnipresent from now on, and there's really little reason to comment on anything that they have to say from this point forward. So I'm just not going to. Suffice to say that I am enjoying these things, and you ain't gonna stop me. Didn't kill it. Oh, yeah. Tonic. 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 At some point, I should probably depend on Marla's healing ability, but I haven't learned to do that yet, so. Yep, She-Hulk's fun. It's a delight. It's delightful. It's been 4 episodes now, and they're delightful. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the fourth wall stuff, but it really started getting to me this last episode. Plus, I think having watched more Gravity Falls and their self-aware humor, but not like literally. It's like a switch, doesn't it? It's not moving. I'm going to move this somewhere where it's not going to vibrate, but I can still kind of see it. Or it's going to vibrate, but it's not going to be in my face. Okay, so I'm here. Ah. Looks like a switch, doesn't it? Go across. Well, now that I'm here, what's the point of being here? Ah. Ah. Almost. I did push the switch. Jerk. Ah. Different switch. That switch. Okay. I just had to be in the right spot to go left or right. Boy, that was confusing. I didn't know where to stand exactly. There, I made it. Little puzzle for you. Yeah, so the new Game of Thrones I've been watching too, and I didn't know that I was going to care for it because I thought it was like a wholly, like completely new, like showrunner only take on the Game of Thrones universe. I didn't realize it was based on one of the books. That book being Fire and Blood, which takes some of the stories from A World of Ice and Fire, which I do own. But that's like an in-universe history of the Targaryens. So it's told by a maester of the Citadel who like collected bits of rumors and whatnot to try and think of a good narrative of what happened, because he's talking about it centuries later, basically, or at least decades later. Almost 2 centuries later. 50% counterattack rate. Oh. I think that's worth 3 attack points. I'll give her the power glove. It's so bad. That joke is so bad. So it's loosely based on George R.R. Martin's writings, but you know, because it's a story of a sort of War of the Roses type thing in his fantasy world. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The show is very much like the Game of Thrones show, where you have specific characters and relationships and whatnot. Although it's not as slow of a burn because it is based on this written history. It still spans a lot of time, so years pass between episodes. So far, no more than 3, I think, at a time. But you're going to see these characters like throughout their entire lives. Ooh. In this first season. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to how low Chrono's health was. I almost lost him. There, he did his counterattack already. Ah! I didn't mean to give it to her. Shoot. So, you know, that being said, like all those relationships and dialogues, while they're informed, oh, she is down. Come on. Ooh, did I get him? Got him. The crab feeder battle was very well done. And that's the other thing too, like, you know, this show has like dragons from the get-go. And not only that, but like my favorite commentator on all things Song of Ice and Fire, David LML, aka Lucifer Means Lightbringer. He wrote a bunch of fantastic essays back in the day about how the books have all of this mythical astronomy, and how it like dives into real world mythology, and draws a lot from that well to inform the mythology that Martin is writing in his book. Ooh, all right. I will take that bolt sword. Yes, sir, I will. So, you know, whether or not any of it is true, it does feel like it adds to things because you can go back and read the text with these ideas in mind and see people in particular moments playing out archetypes, like story archetypes of how things go in these mythical archetypal stories. So this one thing he keeps going back to is this idea of astronomy informing legends, right? Like the existence of our moon and the stars like give rise to stories of gods and whatnot, which is where LML comes from. Lucifer Means Lightbringer, because Lucifer refers to the morning star, but also the evening star. It's the same planet. People didn't know it was a planet at the time, or what a planet even was. You know, rising and falling because it's closer to the sun than we are. Like, we know that stuff now, but at the time, unless you were observing this heavenly body yourself, you didn't know what was going on. So his insistence is that all these stories about where dragons came from have some, like in the distant past, like tens of thousands of years before, have some kernel of truth in what actually happened in the world. Like, you know, the one about like the moon cracking like an egg and all these dragons poured forth. Like, you can take that literally, or you can take it as a metaphor, where like a literal thing like a second moon above Planetos, as he and other people call the planet that Westeros is on. What does this guy say? Sorry. Shala, I've missed you so. No, you must not climb Death Peak. Oh, no, I didn't see those things. Okay, this guy is not helping me at all. Just gonna say the same thing over and over again. All right, I'm gonna keep going. So his theory, backed up by textual evidence, is that there was this second moon, and it rained down like poison shards on the surface of the planet. This oily black stone, or at least these moon meteors. And some of the textual evidence has to do with like Dawn, the sword Dawn, which is different than like the dragon glass, or like not the dragon glass, but the Valyrian swords. Is this the mountain he's talking about? Ooh, there we go. Off we go. But also like where the power of Valyria came from. Old Valyria, which they're mentioning now in the new show, where the Valyrians and Valyrians came from originally. Yeah, I can't make it up there. I can run. Oh, the wind blows and then I'm hosed. Oh, the Red Wedding, the place where they filmed the Red Wedding is in Scotland? That makes sense. They probably filmed a lot of castles around there, huh? That's cool. Oh, all right, I'm gonna try again. Let's see how I do. Got one power tab. Well, at least I got that power tab. Anyway, so there's like legends of this oily black stone that they built the city of Ashai out of, and that's why it's like this deathly evil place, is because like this oily stone corrupts. This oily stone is also, I think, what we're supposed to have believed landed in Westeros. So like the ribs of Naga are actually like these moon meteors and stuff like that. So on and on and on. But basically they relate these to the power of the dragon, basically, even though that they might not be related, but it's a metaphor, right? Like dragons are a thing that they see in the real world, and they say, oh, it came from this moon explosion, like this oral history of this thing that happened millennia ago. And they have to show you the way. Okay. Interesting. So that's where LML got his start. But since then, you know, he's also been reviewing the TV show. There hasn't been a new book out for since 2011. So he's gone through all the books and stuff to like give that textual analysis to fit his theory. And it's, even if it's not true, it's fascinating how much actually fits. And it does add, I think, a flavor to it. So sorry, the point I was coming to was like, if you believe that this story of like, not just that the moon came down, but like there was a magical reason for it, like Azor Ahai like brought down the moon through blood sacrifice of Nissa by plunging a sword into her chest, which isn't something you do to the woman that you love, right? Like, so he thinks that Azor Ahai isn't a good guy, basically. Okay, that's good. Oopsies. So, I keep going the wrong way. So, if you go through the text of the book, he says that, like, you know, towers, like physical towers in the story of the Song of Ice and Fire books, represent the attempts to reach the heavens, and the fall from the heavens, like the moon falling from the sky and blotting out the face of the sun, happens in some literal ways. So like anything that's up in the sky, like the Tower of the Hand or the Tower of Old Town, or even very tall people like the Mountain, or like the High Towers, like anything like that represents part of that mythology playing out in the text of the books over and over again. And like the most specific version of that is you have I forgot his name, the guy Pedro Pascal plays, the guy from Dorne who comes to get revenge for his sister, and fights the Mountain. He has all this sun symbolism around him. So like he is literally the sun. He's from a sunny land. He fights the Mountain, so he represents the moon and the moon falling, and then he fells the Mountain, so the moon falls and then blots out the face of the sun, and then the Mountain literally crushes the dude's head. Spoilers. So that's just one example of that playing out in a much more literal way, but there are also examples of that playing out with different characters in different chapters over and over again. It is fascinating stuff. If you can look up, he has like shorter video versions of those essays, but I read them. That took hours to read, guys. Like, it took longer to read in some cases than some of those freaking books. But it's fascinating stuff. So that's all a roundabout way to say that he's been doing more podcasts, because he went from the text essays to the podcasts. So there's details all of this stuff to the videos, and then he's been doing these watch parties and like reviews and stuff. And so he'll take that idea and then mention symbolism in the TV shows of the new show, but also, well, I gotta make sure I can't go this way first. I gotta get this. Oh, it's the same door. Oh, I can't go back this way. Am I stuck here now? I have to go forward. Okay. Good to know. I am stuck. Yeah, I am. All my save states are here now on this side of the door. Whoopsies! I guess I have the saves in game I could use too if I needed to. Okay, I can't go anywhere else. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's see if I can get this figured out. So the new show is interesting because this is stuff that Martin's written since, in between the 5th book of the Song of Ice and Fire series and the 6th and 7th ones that he's allegedly still working on over a decade later. Those that's not the story of this show, so that same symbolism doesn't really exist there. But because of his practice at like looking at story and theme and foreshadowing and stuff, there's a lot of theories about what's going on. Like the Maesters may have had something to do. They didn't like dragons. They didn't like the Valerians coming to Westeros at all. And they're learning men of science, you see. So there are theories that they did whatever they could to end the Valerian bloodline, which might have included making Viserys in the story of this show interfering with his succession. Including Rhaenys. So this is where the story starts, is that there's old King Jaehaerys, 50 years of peace, and he needs a successor because his children are dead. So who has the best claim now? and their deaths could be suspicious potentially. But then you have the maesters basically deciding who the successor was going to be and setting up potentially this entire war. And this is based on the text of the stories, mind you, and reading the maesters as untrustworthy narrators and saying things in their histories that are meant to deliberately sway you against the Targaryens and their power and whatnot. So if there are differences between what the maesters say in those books and in the TV shows, it's not just creative license that they're taking to be like, I don't want to follow that. It's trying to tell the true story of what happened, apart from that unreliable narrator influence. So if you're aware of those of A World of Ice and Fire and the Fire and Blood books, it can give you a roadmap to what's going to happen, but not the specifics and not the why of how it happened. They give you the how, not the why, and even the how you have to suspect might not be true. Where should I go, guys? I'm going to look up a walkthrough pretty soon. Actually, I'm going to have to stop pretty soon. Yes, Tosha. So I'm not really a fantasy fan either, but like Game of Thrones is kind of low fantasy that kind of backdoors its way into high fantasy. Not even high fantasy, like medium fantasy. The parts that interest me more are like the parallels to European history and the monarchy there. Speaking of which, I mentioned it briefly in the comments, but in the real life, Queen Elizabeth II passed away just yesterday, I think. So that's been a thing. So now Charles is king at 73. And I've watched a lot of stories about. I'm gonna keep walking around outside until I get hurt or something. I've been watching a lot of stories about. Is Chrono the only one getting hurt? I've been watching a lot of TV shows about the Tudors in specific. So there's like the Spanish Princess. Sorry, that's the most recent one. There's the White Queen, the White Princess, and the Spanish Princess, which are based on somewhat apocryphal books. I forget what her name is. There's history in there, but there's a lot of conjecture and witchcraft. Where there's a literal curse put upon the Tudor household and the birth of all the male line afterwards. But it's based on history, and I like to look up the history because they fudge people's ages a lot. And I watched the Tudors when it aired on HBO. So when Game of Thrones came out, like hot on the heels of that, and it was like a fantasy series, I'm like, I don't need to see this. I feel like I've watched this show already, and that was a mistake. And I got into it later because of a friend. I was like, no, this is actually a really great show. But anyway, like if you know anything about European history, especially specifically the English monarchy, you'll learn a lot. And boy, Scotland, you guys got screwed so hard over and over again. The Spanish Princess especially makes that abundantly clear. But anyway, that reminds me of the depiction of King James I, aka the James VI of Scotland, in Doctor Who, played by Alan Cumming, I think. Just choice. Good stuff. Anyway. "12 days of mourning." Yikes. What if you don't care about the monarchy? What are you supposed to do? Good gravy. I can't even imagine. Like, a former president dies, or a current president one does. I mean, a current president hasn't died in office since FDR. Well, okay, I mean, JFK, but he was killed. But yeah, it's like we just don't have that concept in America. Very strange. By America, I mean the U.S. Of course, Canada. I can never keep track. Is Canada officially not a Commonwealth of Great Britain anymore, or the UK anymore? Like, the Queen's still on their money. Not sure how that works. Anyway, so I'm gonna look up a walkthrough here. What dome am I on? Keeper's Dome. Okay. Uh-oh. I don't want to see too much. I want to walk through. Uh-oh. All right, hold on. I think I did something wrong. I am not supposed to be here. Now let's find out if I can actually get back. Maybe I just assumed the door was closed and I can't get through it, and that's not true. There was a ladder apparently I was supposed to go down, and I did not do that. Okay, I am actually stuck here, it looks like. Okay. Ladder. Ladder, ladder, ladder. Ladder. Oh, there it is. Let's do this. Oh, we'll come back alive, old man. Bet you're sweet Bippy. Password. Ooh, that looks scary. Oof, scared me. Anyway. I still have some Canadian currency around somewhere. The stuff that I used in the Scott Pilgrim reference, certainly 11 years ago from my trip back in 1997. But I was also there in 2017, so 20 years later. And I think I still have some change left over from that trip, too. Ah! Okay. Guess I gotta beat those critters on the sides first, huh? Oops. Did not mean to hit that thing. Ah! Ouch! Ouchie! Ouchie! Ouchers! Super ouch. Okay, got one of them. Get everyone healed here. Woo! There we go. That's a good one. 4. Whatever 4 means. 3. Oh boy. 2. Get him. 4 goes down to 0. 1. Oh god. Oh. 0. Yikes, 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 yikes. Oh, Chrono's dead. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. Whew. Now that everyone's alive, I can attack those critters again. Ow! You stink. There we go. Oops. Four. Breakdown. Did I get it? Sweet. Made it. do you suppose this is? Looks like some kind of seed. The rat is more than just a statue. It knows the secret of this dome. Catch it. All right. Where'd he go? Where is he? Guess we're not done yet. One more try. Ugh! What the heck was that? Did you see that? It was glitching out and I was trying to catch him. Oh. Ah, come on! Catch this rat! Got him! Oh! L and R buttons, then press the A button to access the secret passage. Squeak. L and R, then A. L and R, then A. Alright. I forgot to push A when I got close to him. That was my problem. Okay. There we go. All right, this is a good place to stop because I got to be done. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for watching us through our technical difficulties. We'll be back next week, I imagine. I'm pretty sure we will be. I'll be real quick about this. Patrons for the month of September are Dojo Disciples Andrew Greeley, Daniel Hathcock, Earl Grey III, and you might get a t-shirt. Patrons are Buttlord, Jody A. Cornelius, Keith Robinson, Lena Blue, Peter Burrell, and Rachel Moser. As we always say, even $1 is better than an ads. If you can go to patreon.com/Famicom Dojo and give it just as little as $1 a month. We can do more cool and awesome things. Apparently, buy some more gooder podcast equipment. Speaking of which, there was a podcast for Famicom Dojo released just today. As a matter of fact, go listen to that or try to listen to that. The audio quality isn't great. It's for our No Brand Con show. Satoshi can attest to how great that wasn't. But I tried to give a summary to make up for the badness so that you can skip around if you don't want to listen to the whole thing because it hurts your ears too much. Otherwise, just listen to the summary and be around next week where we're going to release the audio version of our Two Boobs Watch the Tube podcast, which was about Star Trek Season 1, the original series, Season 1. So if you enjoyed our Star Trek talk, there's some more Star Trek talk that you might not have heard. So thank you all, and I guess until next time, the dojo is dead. Long live the dojo. I don't...
Famicom Dojo.